Welcome to Burpee Talk. Burpee Talk.
Yes.
Different one this time.
Yeah, the first English
The first
podcast.
English podcast.
Yep.
Nervous?
No,
Not nervous?
my English is bad, but it's okay.
Oh, we're gonna. This is a podcast about media. And when I think about media, I think about CrossFit media.
Yeah.
I go back to when I started CrossFit, and that was in 2014-15 with the film of Rich Froning.
Yeah, of course.
I was in a small box in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
There came a lot of people. I think at that time there were only 200 CrossFitters in the Netherlands, and we all came to that place and we
To
saw
watch the movie.
We watched
Rich
the movie,
Froning,
and we watched
the king.
That was 2014-15, I think. I think the athletes getting better,
Of course.
and I think the media is as well.
Yeah,
And
they grow together.
they grow together, and that's why I'm super excited to have this podcast, because I think it was 2022 at Lowlands or 23 at the German.
Yeah.
There was one guy, long hair, tattoos. I don't know if he had them already.
Yeah.
He had a camera in his hand, always at its ankles, shooting very loosely, walking there. And I thought, what a crazy guy is that?
Who's that?
Who is that? And then I saw his reels, his footage. Wow, it was so
Amazing. Yeah.
It was so amazing. I'm talking about Marius. I do the introduction. He moves. He moves across the floor like a shadow with a camera. Long hair, inked skin, and a smile that speaks half mystery, half confidence. His hands rest lightly upon the lens, and with one effortless motion, he captures moments that others never even see unfold. He films from the wrist, almost carelessly. Yet his images rises to a level most can only dream of. For what seems effortless in him is in truth the result of years of discipline, of watching, of an almost obsessive hunger of perfection. He is the man who turns chaos into beauty, who transforms sweat, pain, and passion into pure emotion on the screen. From France to the Netherlands, from local boxes to global arenas, he is the quiet storyteller of the CrossFit world. An artist who does not merely record, but feels every heartbeat and what unfolds before his lens. Today, on Burpee Talk, the man behind Truth Films, the man who never settles for fine or average, the man Marius, and you have to help me with your last name, Vérité?
Yes, which
Yes.
means literally is the translation for Waarheid.
Waarheid. Ah, you speak
nice.
Dutch.
A little
good.
bit, een beetje.
Marius, welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
I spoke here at the Amsterdam Throwdown, and you
Yeah.
said you have to do an English podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I think these podcasts are really important for the space. I think it's really cool that there are people who are passionate about CrossFit, functional fitness, who invite people in the space that usually don't have a voice. And I'm always very curious, and I love listening to podcasts in general. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, my Dutch is not good enough to watch some of what you guys do. But I do follow the page, and and I saw Michelle, and I was like, hey guys, like one day, you know, if you do some episodes in English, I would love to be on.
This is the day.
Yes.
Marius, we always start with a few questions. We start with 21 yes or no questions.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they're fast, they're fun, and you can only answer them with yes or no.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll
up
try
for
my
it?
best.
Okay. The Redeemed and the Dominant. Best CrossFit movie ever made?
It's hard to say because
For now, it's only yes or no. You can come back to it later.
I would say yes.
Have you ever delivered something you knew wasn't good enough?
No.
Are Heber and Marston still the #1 filmmakers in CrossFit?
Yes.
Is there a tattoo you kind of wish you never got?
No.
Have you ever been starstruck while working?
Yes.
Will there ever be a Dutch athlete crowned fittest on earth?
I hope so, but I don't think so.
Is a 220 kilo deadlift within a year realistic for you?
No.
Was CrossFit the right medicine for a broken heart?
Yes.
Does a shelf full of DVDs feel warmer than a Netflix menu?
Yes.
Will we ever see a film by Marius Vérité on Netflix?
Can't be yes or no. I hope so.
Is your hand steadier than a gimbal?
It can come close to it.
Would you do it differently today and finish film school?
No.
Would the sport grow faster if the World Fitness Project and CrossFit worked together?
Yes.
Does every piece of WFP content carry your signature?
No.
Is hard work more important than talent?
One can't be without the other if you want to succeed.
Can you listen to Beautiful Crazy and not fall in love?
No.
Will we ever see Sevan as our guest on the Hard Disk podcast?
No.
Does better gear make you a better filmmaker?
No.
Is the day you cut your hair short coming sooner than we think?
No.
Is filming more important to you than working out?
No.
All right, you survived the 21 yes or no questions.
Those are hard, huh?
Yeah. Don't worry, you have plenty of time to explain it later.
Yeah.
We'll come back to them. Let's start. Let's start with the young Marius, the kid before the camera, before CrossFit, before Truth Film. So let's start with the early years. Before you ever touched the camera, who was the young Marius?
Well, I grew up in France. I'm French, in the suburbs of Paris. And even though I didn't have a camera in my hands, I grew up with a family of movie lovers or movie buffs or cinema nerds. There's very different words to use that. In French, we say cinéphile, cinéphile.
Yes.
And my parents, they didn't want to borrow DVDs from their friends, or they didn't want to rent them at the video store. They were collectors. So when they would get movies, they would buy them and they would put them on a big shelf. And so I grew up with parents who bought new movies every few days, every week. So we had a huge shelf that would slide. And I think quickly we got up to at least 300 or 400 DVDs at home. And so I wasn't a kid that was really into sports. That came much later. And I wasn't really into video games much. I played the PlayStation 2 with a few games, but I was never a video game person. So for me, it was always movies. And my one thing, you know, like if you're a kid and you want to ask your parents permission to do something, like, you know, some kids would be like, Mom, can I play the PlayStation? Or Mom, can I go play football with my friends outside? For me, it was, Mom, can I watch a movie tonight? And I remember when I was really, really young, those are actually some of my earliest memories. Maybe I was 2 years old or something, but my parents would watch a movie downstairs, but I was not allowed to watch with them because I had to be in bed. But I would go and sit on the top stairs, and I would like peek my head under, and I would watch the entire movie from upstairs hidden. Because I just was obsessed with images and fiction and watching this on the screen. And so, for me, even early on, without even touching a camera, my life was about stories and movies. And my parents they gave me a really great movie education. You know, when I was 12, 13 years old, I would watch Alfred Hitchcock movies, and I would watch Steven Spielberg movies, all the James Bonds. And so, that was how I grew up. I can go on if you want.
Were there any favorite movies?
It's really hard to say like for a movie lover, it's really hard to say a favorite movie because there's so many genres and there's so many eras, the 50s, the 60s, the 80s, the 2000s, and then there's horror movies and romantic comedies and action and thrillers. So it's hard to say this movie is my favorite because it would mean it puts it above all of the others. But I grew up loving Martin Scorsese, Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, who made Back to the Future.
It's a good one.
And I could go on.
Was it all about the storytelling, or was it all the film techniques?
The film techniques and the look of the movies, my love for it came a bit later when I started to understand a little bit more what was behind the creation of a movie. But I guess early on for me, it was more about the stories. And just like some young kids, they want to escape reality through reading or going outside, again, play with their friends, soccer. For me, it was a way to escape. I was a very insecure, quite fragile kid when I was younger, and I was bullied a lot in high school. Kids would make fun of me a lot because I was quite overweight, and I was very insecure. And so, again, movies were a way for me to just escape. So it was the stories for me at first.
I saw you were going to a film school.
Yeah.
At what age was that?
So that's like usually what we say superior education. So that's what happens after high school. So usually in France, you will graduate high school when you're 18.
Yeah.
And you will get something called the baccalauréat, which is your diploma. And then after high school, so after 18, that's when you do a superior education. So university, or you go to engineering school or whatever. And for me, it was film school. And so I was, I had turned 18 in May, and the start of film school was in September. So I was 18.
You were 18. Okay. And when was the first time you picked up a camera just for fun?
The first time I picked up a camera was actually before that, while I was in high school, because a close friend of mine back in the day had created Cine Club. So he had managed to get funding and budget from the school. I remember he managed to get 4,000 euros to buy a MacBook, camera and tripod. And every Wednesday we would have a movie club. And so we would gather with a group of maybe 8 people passionate about making films, and we would record little comedy skits and like little short films. And that was the first time I touched a camera. So I must have been like 16.
16. And all behind the camera, or were you in front of the camera?
A bit of both. Like, it was a little group, and sometimes some of us would record with the camera, and the rest would like play little roles in these comedy skits. And I would sometimes be in front, sometimes in the back. But it was just a teamwork and just having fun.
It was never the dream to become an actor.
No, not really. There was a point though where I did want it to be a voice actor. I wanted to do voiceovers for cartoons, video games. I wanted to make a trailer for the trailer for movies, in a world. I wanted to I wanted to do that, and I was always really good with like doing impressions and imitating, and like I was always really good with accents. As you can hear, I don't have a very strong French accent.
No.
And so that's what I wanted to do at first, but the voice acting industry is really harsh, and it's hard to make a living out of it. So I quickly switched to cinematography. Your parents were into media as well? Yeah, my mom actually, she worked as a assistant director, in the movie industry when she was very, very young, and then she worked quickly in TV. So, for example, if you watch a soccer game, outside the arena, there is like a big truck with a lot of screens inside. Yeah. And there is a director who picks which camera angles we're going to use from which soccer player and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And my mom was their assistant. So she was working for a TV channel called Canal Plus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In France, on football games. Sometimes my mom took me into, in French, we call it la régie, which is the big, it's a big truck, and she used to take me, and I would sit down next to her, and I would have to be very silent. And I would just watch the director pick which football players on which camera we use and all that stuff. So broadcasting, Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. And at what time you think, I go to film school? I want to make a living of this.
Well, I was never the brightest kid. I was never a bad student, but I was also never excellent. Mm-hmm. My grades were always kind of average. Yeah. And so it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do for a living. And I think still to this day, there's a lot of pressure on kids to figure it out super early, which I think is really hard, because sometimes it just takes life experience and trying things before figuring out what you want to do. And of course, there's always example. I've got my closest friend from when I was really young who wanted to be a pilot from when he was 8 years old, and now he is one. He flies private jets.
Wow.
Nice job. Yeah.
But that's really rare that it happens where you know what you want to do when you're like a kid actually ends up being what you do. So for me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I remember my mom asked me she told me like, well, what are you passionate about? And the only thing I could think of at the time was watching movies. Because of how I grew up. And so I was like, I love just the cinematography and watching movies and like storytelling. And she told me like, well, why don't you try a film school? There's schools where you can learn about lighting and sound design and creating a movie and production and budget and all that stuff. And I was like, okay. And so I went to this school in Paris called SRA, which means Superior School of Movie Directing in French, just to try it and see.
Yeah. I know you didn't finish the school, but when you had finished, what would you have become then?
So the school first starts on the first year. The first 2 years, it starts very broad. So you learn about everything in the movie industry. You learn about script writing, scenarios. You learn about sound design. You learn about movie analysis, about publicity and budgets and everything. And then on the third year, you can specify what you want to go into in the movie industry, whether that's production, editing, or whatever. I think if I had finished the school, it would be camera operator or just movie director. But the thing is, it was a school really made to start working in the movie industry. And I realized that it was also a very cutthroat, really hard industry where if you need connections and it's really hard to make it and make a living out of it. So that's why I didn't finish it, and also it was a lot of theory, and I wanted to get my hands on the camera. I wanted to get my hands on the equipment. And so film school, I realized after the second year, it was just not made for me. Mm-hmm. Wow. You're putting me on the spot there. That was a long, I didn't even think you would have found that. Yeah, so actually when I started traveling, I put a hold. So after film school, I worked in the TV industry. That's when I started doing internships and actually then being hired by a TV company in France. And then I was in an apartment in Paris, and I had like a job that paid quite okay for my age, and I was a bit scared of the comfort and to not have seen the world. And so that's when I decided to leave my apartment, leave my job in TV, which was a very safe job for my age, and to move abroad. And I moved to London. And so that was the first time I moved abroad. But I really loved, video making and creating content. And so at the time, yes, I had a YouTube channel, which first started sharing my weight loss journey, but then quickly turned into some kind of lifestyle vlogging channel while I was traveling. And even though when I moved abroad, I didn't work in video making yet, I was working in horeca, but I still wanted to keep a hand on video making, so I was making YouTube videos and sharing my travels.
First, you went to London. How long did you stay there?
I stayed 1 year.
1 year, and what?
So I moved there when I was 21, and I stayed 1 year in London. Yes.
Was there something particular that you learned there, or?
I learned hard work because I was 21. I moved with my hands in my pockets to London, and I was living in a shitty apartment with 5 roommates because life is really, really expensive in London. And working in Horeca, while it might seem really, really hard, and it is, it just teaches you life and it teaches you hard work. Horeca is very hard industry to be in. It's late hours. You don't do a lot of job that is really sexy. You know, you take out the trash and you clean.
Yeah.
And you serve people and rude customers. But it was incredibly enriching, and I learned so much from working in Horeca. And then I also worked in apparel, so I sold Timberlands. You know the boots?
Yeah, the boots. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So in Oxford Street in London, there was a Timberland shop, and I worked there as a stock boy. So I was in the stock room, and I had a little walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And the people on the shop floor, they would tell me, "Okay, I need this size."
And you have to get
Rep 43.
And, yeah, and a little bit like Ollivander in Harry Potter with the wands.
Yeah.
I had to move huge 6-meter shelves on a railing and go and pick up like the right size and give them to the guys on the floor. And all of this really taught me teamwork and listening and hard working.
That was that year in London, and then you went to Australia?
Yeah, I went to Australia. I was just finishing work really late in London, and it was raining outside, and it was London can get quite depressing as well. Yeah. It eats you up. And
why did you choose London?
I was always just really, really big on British pop culture. The music, the Clash, TV shows. I used to watch a lot of British TV shows like Sherlock, for example. And so I was always really attracted to the UK. You know, a lot of kids, they have the American dream.
Yeah.
For me, it was the
British.
UK dream.
Okay.
I just love the British culture in general. So that's why London. And after a year, it was just really, it got a little bit depressing with the bad weather and everything. And it was working hard. And I was FaceTiming a friend who lived in Australia.
Yeah.
And for him, it was morning because it's... And then it was like sunlight, and he told me like, "Bro, you need to come to Australia someday." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, it's super far." And then he flipped the screen on the FaceTime on his phone, and he said, "Look," and there was a dolphin.
Oh, really?
In the water, because he was near the beach.
Yep.
And I was like in London with shit weather. And I was like, he told me like, "I'll help you get the visa. Like, just come, I'll help you." And I was like, okay. Left London, went back to my parents' house for 3 months to save money and get my working holiday visa. Yeah. And 3 months later, I moved to the Gold Coast in Australia.
And how much time did you spend in Australia?
Yeah, I stayed in total 2 years. So in Australia, if you want to go and work there, you need what's called the WHV, which is a working holiday visa.
Yeah.
And that allows you to live and work in Australia for 1 year. You pay a certain amount, and they give you 1 year to come and work in Australia. And then if you want to stay a second year, you have to work 3 months in a farm. And so when I moved to Australia, after a week, I was doing groceries, and there was a lady in front of me that owned the farm really close by, and she gave me a job there. And it's gonna be, and it was the first time I had encounter with a Dutch person, because when I moved to the farm, I met my ex-girlfriend who was half Dutch, half Indonesian.
Yeah.
And she was from Eindhoven.
Eindhoven.
Very, very soft Dutch accent.
Yeah, it's very soft, yeah.
And I was with her for 2 years there. We lived in Australia together, and after the farm job, we bought a second-hand van, and we road tripped all around the country for 4 months. We did 20,000 kilometers.
Oh,
okay, that's nice.
So in total, I stayed 2 years in Australia.
And still no camera, no filmmaking.
I still had like my little camera, and I was documenting on YouTube the same as in London. But I was not. It was not for work. I was not selling my services.
Okay, and well then. Australia ends, 2 years went by.
Yeah.
Where did you go then?
then I was supposed to move to Eindhoven with my ex-girlfriend.
But
then we came back, and she realized that the relationship was not working for her, and she broke up with me a week before Christmas when we came back from Australia.
Man. That's hard.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really tough. And so the moving to Eindhoven got cancelled, obviously. And so I moved back to my parents' house in the suburbs of Paris to figure out what I wanted to do. But then came March 2020 and COVID. That put a big break on everything, not just me, but the whole world. And had to go through the breakup, not being able to go out. And so, yeah, when I was 21, I started watching fitness YouTubers. And I lost 25 kilograms in 3 months, I think.
Whoa.
And then for the years that came after that, I just did fitness bodybuilding, just trying to become a bit bigger and all that stuff. So yes, I had already made a big transformation, but after my ex broke up with me, I actually gained back 10 kilos at that time and became quite chubby again because of the breakup.
Yeah.
So that's when I had gained some weight back before discovering CrossFit, which is maybe where we're going next.
So when did you start CrossFit?
So basically, after the quarantine and after my ex broke up with me, one of my closest friend, Quentin, he was able to work remotely for his job, and so he moved to Valencia in Spain.
Yeah.
And he told me, Marius, I know you're going through a tough breakup. I'm moving to Valencia and I have a free room in my apartment. Let's be roommates. And I'm half Spanish, by the way. My father is Spanish, and so I speak Spanish fluently. So Valencia was just it seemed like a good thing for me at that time to see the sun, get over my ex-girlfriend. And so after the quarantine was over and we were able to travel again, I moved to Valencia in Spain. And he was a functional fitness coach, not a CrossFit coach.
Okay, yeah.
He was really into, and still is, into a guy named Marcus Fili.
Yep.
Yeah, which is functional bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And but he was going to a CrossFit gym at that time. He had just discovered CrossFit a couple of months before, and he told me, Marius, join me at this CrossFit class. It'll help you lose some weight and have fun and get out of this funk that you're in. And at the time I said no, because it reminded me too much of a physical education class in school, where kids used to, because the words, there is a coach, and there is
I understand.
a class, and there is members, but it's almost like students. And it reminded me of when I was bullied in school and made fun of because of my weight. And so it was too much assimilated to the sports class in school. And so I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm not in shape. People are going to make fun of me. Yeah. And are we allowed to swear on this show?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're in the Netherlands. Come.
At that time, he was like, shut the fuck up. Take your fingers out of your ass, come to the class. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue, but you're going to come and do this anyway.
Just try it out, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the type of friends you want. The friends who don't take your bullshit and who help you get out of this. And so I went to my first class, and I think like all of us, we remember our very first WOD.
Yeah.
And the WOD was 400-meter run, 400 kettlebell swings, and then it was 330, 220, and then 110 kettlebell swings. And I remember I was the very last one coming back from the run. I was beat by this 60-year-old lady because I was really out of shape. And I was finishing my kettlebell swing, and everybody was counting down with me. 10, 9, come on, 7. And I was and then I just fell on the floor, last one in the WOD, and completely out of breath. And everybody came and gave me a fist bump. And when this happened, I was like, oh, this is CrossFit. Actually, nobody is making fun of you. You can join a class at whatever level or age you are and scale it how you want. And actually people support you. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then we were living with my friend together at the time, and we came home from the CrossFit class, and he told me, if you like it, CrossFit, there is a documentary on Netflix called The Redeemed and the Dominant. If you want, we can watch it together. And it's funny, I was just telling this to Heber because I was with Heber from the Buttery Bros the past 2 days for WFP, and I was telling him that this was the first thing I watched, and then I was like, holy shit, like this sport is fucking awesome. And at the time, I wanted to go back into video making because I was traveling and doing YouTube videos, but I hadn't started a business yet. And so I was watching Redeemed and the Dominant, and I was like, holy shit, like if I start doing like video making, like I want to get my hands on shooting that sport. And so I remember with my camera, I used to go to the CrossFit box with Quentin, and I used to shoot some videos of him to try and like do like the Buttery Bros,
This is still in Valencia.
This is still in Valencia, yes. I think my very first CrossFit related video was filming my friend Quentin when we did a drop-in in a CrossFit box in Valencia. Spain is really good for going through a breakup because it's sunny and life is cheap and everything. And I'm saying this without bias because I'm half Spanish, but Spain is really slow. Really slow. Like administration, people are not as ambitious. Of course, there's ambitious people, but it's really rare. And where you go on a Tinder date and the girl is 45 minutes late, and she doesn't apologize. Or the shops are closed between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Is it because of the weather?
Maybe it's the slow life. I think anywhere you go where the weather is a bit warmer, people are more chill, I guess. It was a bit the same in Australia. People live a chill life, but I'm not chill. I'm a person, I need to get shit done. I'm extremely punctual. My first job ever was when I was 17 working as a bartender in France for my uncle who was a bar manager. And he told me this rule that I will never forget. He told me, if you're on time, you're late. And if you're early, you're on time. And so I'm extremely punctual, and Spain was just not made for me. And I had some Dutch friends, and they told me like, well, you would fit in the Netherlands because Dutch people are quite organized and scheduled and ambitious, and like they get shit done, like or at least Northern Europe in general. And I said, yeah, but I don't know. My ex is from Eindhoven. I don't know if I want to move to the Netherlands. And he told me like, well, you don't need to move to Eindhoven.
No.
And actually, no offense to people who live in Eindhoven, but I remember he said back in the day, he said, and actually, you don't want to move to Eindhoven. No. There's fuck all there.
That's true. And smart friend.
People are really warm. I love people from the south of the Netherlands. I love Breda. I love Eindhoven. Like it's really, people are really sweet. One of my closest friends, Santino, who's one of the MCs at the events. He's from Breda, and so he was my first ever friend in the Netherlands. So I do think people are really warm. But back in the day, my Dutch friend in Spain told me like, yeah, but you don't need to move to Eindhoven. And she said like, I think a good city that would suit you is Utrecht. She said, it's like a mini Amsterdam. It's not as busy. It doesn't smell like marijuana every 10 meters.
It's true.
Because I don't smoke and I hate the smell of weed. And I was like, okay. So I moved back to my parents' house from Valencia and saved some money, and I moved to Utrecht. And that's when I moved to the Netherlands. And that was in 2020, September 2021.
You said you saw The Redeemed and the Dominant.
Yeah.
When I saw that movie, I wanted to become Matt Fraser at that time. What was your thoughts? Because you were a filmmaker, did you want to be the athlete or did you want to shoot?
No, I wanted to shoot, of course.
Of course.
For me, sports was always a way to become healthier, to lose weight. It was always more a competition against myself rather than others, and just to stay healthy and also look good.
Yeah, of course.
But I was never competitive. So when I saw the like some people, they see the documentaries and they want to be like Matt Fraser. For me, I wanted to be like the Buttery Bros. I saw this video on YouTube of Marston Sawyer, like the one of the two Buttery Bros, running with the camera, next to Matt Fraser during that run. And I was like, I pointed at the screen and I said, that's what I want to do. And I remember I said, one day I want to shoot the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, let's go to the name of your film company, I think.
Yeah.
Truth. I think it's more than only that name.
Well, first of all, the very simple fact is my last name in French, Vérité, means truth. Yeah, Waarheid. And so for me, the first part is, of course, I wanted to, a lot of people, their business name is just their name. So I could have called my business Marius Vérité or something. But I thought that truth looked a little bit better than Vérité. Of course, there's a whole mental thinking of like being honest and everything. So I will get to that. But just the name is like, it's Truth Films. So the movies of truth, right? But it's also Truth Me. And I film. So when you, in he and she, in English, you put an S at the verb after it. So he films or she films. And so truth films. So it has two different meanings. And I always strive to be as honest as possible. And that's one thing I actually love about the Netherlands is how brutally honest people are. And, people, when they move to the Netherlands or they talk for the first time to Dutch people, the first thing they will say, they'll, oh, whoa, like they're so direct. But me, I was like, fuck yes, they're so direct. Because I don't like the bullshit. I like to know where I stand when I meet people. I don't like the half-truths or the gossiping behind your back or the whatever. And I fucking love that. And I think the reason why I matched so well with the Dutch people when I moved there is because I'm like that. I always try to be honest and I always try to say what's on my mind.
Can we go to the first years in CrossFit as filmmaker? How did that start?
It started with my friend and I moved to the Netherlands and I was back in the day, one of my best friend Anaïs, who's a coach there in Utrecht, she told me to come to her box, which is called Roots Premium Gym. In Utrecht, and it's not an affiliate. And I started training there, and there was a guy in my gym called Sander, and he was shredded. He was just like, he looked good, he looked at the time, he looked to me like the fittest athlete in the box. And I said like, hey man, would you mind if I shoot you during a workout? So I could improve my portfolio, So I made a video of him, and then I just wanted to grow in the business, and I was trying to figure out a way to like get more content of CrossFit. And so I remember I sent a DM to back in the day, like the fittest people in the Netherlands. So I sent a DM. I sent 3 DMs. Okay. I sent one to Roman Bauman.
Of course, yeah.
I sent one to Linda Keesman, and I sent one to Jeremy Reinders. And I said, hey, I want to be a video maker, and I would love to give you some reels for free. If you would be interested. And all of them said like, of course, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Free content.
Yeah.
And so I went to Vondel Gym in Zuid in Amsterdam, and I went there. I remember the first weeks I was there almost every day, coming to shoot Roman, Linda, and Jeremy, and just like improving my craft. And that was like the first. And then I was like, okay, now I filmed a lot of people in the gyms, but now I need to get some competition experience. Yeah. And so I remember, I think I reached out back in the day to Peter Kramer with the Nationals and Battle of the North, and I said like, hey, I would love to create some content for you. And I started to put my prices, and he was the first one actually who paid me. Yeah. So I'm very grateful to Peter for trusting me. And my very, very, very first competition was the Nationals in 2022. And and he paid me really well, and he trusted me. And so I started to get competition floor experience. And then I did the Battle of the North with him. And that was really nice. And that the first year, it was the year where I didn't get too much money from CrossFit video making, but I just wanted to show my face everywhere. Yeah. I wanted people to be like, wait, I saw that guy at Battle of the North. Wait, but I also saw him at Nationals. Oh, but I also saw him there. So I remember I was financing my own trips. I financed myself to go to German Throwdown, and I was not on the media team that year. I was shooting from outside, and I was making content, and then I was going to other competitions around Europe and just like trying to improve myself. And then came Lowlands Throwdown, the year that it was a semi-final at the same time as Strength in Depth. And my friend Anaïs, who is the one who is a coach at Roots Premium Gym, my very first friend in the Netherlands, said, Marius, I saw a volunteer media application for Lowlands Throwdown. She said, I think you should apply. And back then I had a bit of pride. And I already had worked for Pater for money. And so I was like, I don't know if I want to work for free. Yeah. And then she said something a bit like my friend Quentin when I said no to starting CrossFit. She said, Marius, shut up, send an application. You will get so much experience from working on a bigger team like this. Yep. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay. And I applied, and I was a volunteer on the media team at Lowlands Throwdown. And back in the day, Kevin Dijkstra, was on the pay team, and he was working. And and I went to Lowlands, and it was my first big time competition.
Yeah.
From the beginning, as you was filmmaker and now, did you always have your own ideas when you shoot or do your copy from other artists or?
No, of course, I was always kind of influenced especially with music. I think when I first started, I was trying, or I think I was seen by other people a bit different with my music choices. I remember the music that I used for my after movie for Lowlands Throwdown was from Back to the Future, because I love Back to the Future, and people were like, oh, this is a strange music to put on a after movie. So I guess the way I would differentiate myself back in the day was with music, but in terms of style, of course, I took a lot of inspiration. Back in the day, I was a fan of a guy called BC Vision. Yeah. And he's the one who does everything for Proven and Tia Claire Toomey. He was the first one I was like really admiring, BC Vision. And I was like, oh, wow. And of course, the Buttery Bros, but they were doing such bigger project that I couldn't really do the same with my small reels. No. But BC Vision was a big one. And then someone who actually became a really close friend to me is Josie. Life of Josie. And back in the day, I discovered him because he would do the videos of Craig Ritchie. And so Josie and BC Vision were like the first guys where I was like, holy shit, like that's really cool. And even after later, I took a lot of inspiration from a guy called Carlos Baum, and he shoots for Tier, and he shoots a lot for HWPO as well. And he's actually... his girlfriend is a really good weightlifter, Maddie Rogers. And I was really inspired by Carlos as well. So, of course, as a video maker, you take inspiration from everything. And sometimes it can go in a bad direction because you start copying too much. Yeah. And so I was very guilty of like sometimes copying what they were doing instead of taking inspiration and making my own sauce. But so I think at some point as well, I muted all the creators in the business on Instagram because I didn't want to watch what they were doing too much because it was keeping me from trying to differentiate myself. So I've done both, taking some inspiration, made some mistake by copying too much sometimes as well, of course.
And when you go into a competition, you already know how you want to shoot, or do you already have an idea of the music, or?
Nope.
No,
I'm someone that works really well with improvisation. Yeah. And I love the pressure, and I work really well under pressure and not knowing what's going to happen. Actually, 99% of the times, even for big competitions such as the games or Rogue, I don't even know the workouts.
No,
I don't check them. So like sometimes I'll be at competitions and my colleagues are, hey, do you know what's the next workout? I'm like, I have no idea. Yeah. Okay. So it might be a bit controversial because you would think like, hey, actually it would be interesting to know the workouts because like you know where to go or what you're going to shoot. But I love not knowing because it forces me to be creative. And same with music. I decided after when I'm editing. I don't think of a music before. So I'm very intuitive.
Okay. You are in the CrossFit scene now for quite a while. Bar muscle up always stays the same. You now know how to shoot a bar muscle up. Is it always the same, or do you still have new ideas to cover that?
I think when you start shooting CrossFit, whether it's photo or video, you try too much to see the whole movement, and so in photography you'll see pictures from like local competitions, where it's like the entire picture of the athlete doing a snatch, or the entire body of the athlete doing a muscle up. And I think in videography and photography, as you become a little bit more experienced, you start to try and pay attention to close-ups, the grip on the bar with the chalk fuming. You know, when the athlete is about to do a muscle up, instead of starting to film when he's already doing the muscle up, it's like I know the athlete is over there, and I know he's gonna walk to the muscle up bar, but my camera is already on the bar, waiting for the grip. To grab the thing, because I want the shot of the grip with the chalk. Or if I know an athlete is about to pick up a barbell, I try to see where they're gonna put their hand on the bar, and I shoot the bar, waiting for the athlete to grab the bar. Because I want a close up of the hand grabbing it. Same with the double unders, and so I think I know all the movements now. I know how a snatch movement is. I know how someone is on the rower. I know pretty much, like, I have to do like 2 or 3 times, and then I can, like, I know the speed at which they're going, and I know that I can keep for the muscle up. I know I don't need to follow. I think a lot of creators as well, when they start, they follow a lot. I think when you gain experience, you also learn to not do that. You can, of course, but what I try to do sometimes is just I stay at the top where we don't see the athlete yet on top of the bar for the muscle up. But I like to see the athlete appear and not follow them from the bottom and up and then the bottom, and I stay at the top and I wait for them to arrive. And so I guess the movements are the same, but the way you film them can vary. And I think that's what I love about CrossFit, is that there's so many variations, and it allows you to be very creative if you can push yourself to go there.
When you started, obviously you made mistakes. I started shooting without SD card in my camera, something like that. Did you make mistake as well?
Yeah, but sometimes some mistakes, it was not necessarily mistakes. It's just I didn't know my camera settings really well. So I would not shoot something a bit nerdy, but maybe you will not understand. But like if you're shooting at certain frame rates, you need to have the shutter speed double that. So if you're shooting at 100 frames per second, your shutter speed needs to be a 1/200. Etc. So I wouldn't have my shutter speed at the right speed, but that's not really mistakes. It's just like not knowing it and just like learning it. And then mistakes, of course, sometimes I've run on the competition floor to start shooting, and then you press record and there is no SD card in it.
Oh, you did as well. Oh,
I've done that a lot. Even it happens much less now, but even like now, maybe once or twice a year I do that. So it's just human error. Of course, tons of mistakes, tagging the wrong athletes when posting, or early days when I didn't know the athletes just as much, and 2 girls would look the same, like tagging the wrong girl, or some stuff like that. But I guess that happens to everybody.
My second question was, have you ever delivered something you knew wasn't good enough and you said no?
No, because even though now I could look at something I posted in the past and think, no, that was not good enough. But your question is about on the moment, and I think I always try, whether it's for a small competition or a big competition, whether it's for us, it could be Matt Fraser or Belinda, or whatever. Like, I always try to give my best work. I don't care that you're big or small competition or big or small athlete. Like, I will put the same amount of work, and I will strive for my best work every time. And so even though I can reflect later and think like, oh, that was not the best, I think on the moment I always think, I gave my best work. And Yeah, I would never. Same like I sometimes see photographers deliver some pictures, and I think to myself like, how can you deliver that picture and think that it's good?
Yeah.
Because for example, double under, and you see the athlete at the bottom of the double under, and then you see all the loose skin, and they look like a grandpa.
Yep.
But the photographers would still deliver it to the media team, and I was like, or sometimes I would see videos that are super shaky or out of focus, and I don't know, maybe I have a different brain the way I think, but for me it's automatic. I know when a shot is sharp, well framed, stable. Okay, I deliver it. If it's not, I pick a different shot or I change it or something. But so no, I think I was always pretty satisfied with what I would deliver with the talent that I had back then.
And then the question about the gimbal. I see you always shoot loose-handed, I call it, but
Handheld.
Handheld.
Yeah, of course, there's no wrong or right way to do it, and I don't have necessarily the best way. But for me, it's just in CrossFit there is so much, as you know, unknown and unknowable. Yeah. And there is so much variation and things changing last minute. And, you know, some workouts are slow, but some workouts are super fast. You need to be quick. And then, you know, if you're on a competition floor, like you need to move fast. And sometimes you have to like avoid a barbell dropping or an athlete is about to start their double unders. You need to back up. Otherwise, they're going to whip you and you're going to bother them. So doing all that with a gimbal, it's too much hassle, and you have to hold the gimbal and then like press record like this, and then you can start moving. But it just lacks spontaneity. I think you need to be quick on your feet, move fast, react well to what's going on, and for me, handheld is just so much better for that. Of course, I've done some shoots, commercial shoots in a studio or in a gym or whatever. I've used a gimbal before, but really rarely as well, because also I'm lazy as fuck. And it's just a hassle to set up a gimbal. Even I was yesterday with Heber, and he was shooting, I was shooting handheld and he was shooting with gimbal. And even him was like, it took him a long time to set up the gimbal and everything because it's fucking annoying to do. It's also a little bit of laziness. Also, it taught me to be very stable with my hands.
We'll go back. You say I DM'd 3 of the Dutch guys.
Yeah.
When was it that the athletes were asking for you?
You mean when people started to reach out to me instead of me? Maybe after a year, when the first year, my building year was 2022, when I went for free to a lot of competitions, just paying myself. 2023 was about starting to get paid. So then I would still reach out most of the time. Hey, I'm going there. Do you need content? Hey, you know, reaching out to brands in the Netherlands or abroad and everything. So, and I think still to this day, there's nothing wrong, even if you're really good in the business, to reach out. But I think the better you become and the more connections you have, the more it'll be the other way around. But I think towards the end of 2023, that's when I started having brands. Hey, are you going to be at this competition? We need content. And then it's switched.
And then you start working with Kristen Holte?
Yeah, that was the biggest opportunity I've ever had. And I'm so grateful to Kristen and Lena Richter. And it started at the Berlin semifinals in Berlin in 2023. I made a reel of... and back then, I was only educated on the individual athletes. When I started watching Redeemed and the Dominant and being into CrossFit, I didn't know much about the big teams. And also, I think it's because like the team hype came a little bit later. Because of all the training camps having their team, like Team Proven, blah, blah, blah. But I knew one of the best team in Europe, CrossFit Oslo Navy Blue. And so I usually, when I was in Berlin, I would only shoot the individuals. And then I saw them and I was like, oh, wait, that's the famous team. And so I made a reel of them while Ingrid Hodnemir, she was on the assault runner, and then Nico Villa was holding a sandbag, and then you had Ivan and Lena doing something else. I can't remember. And you could all see the four of them doing something, and I made a reel. And after Berlin, I reached out to Kriger Training, or as they say in Norway, Kriger, which means warrior or soldier. And I said to Kriger Training Instagram, like, so, you know, I was still reaching out to some people, like I said, even though I started to get reached out from people, I also reached out and I said, hey, do you guys have a video maker for the CrossFit Games? Because I'm available, and at the time I had the budget to finance my trip to the CrossFit Games, and I was like, this is the year. I'm gonna buy tickets. I'm gonna buy a spectator tickets, and I'm just gonna come and like shoot and like see if I can get some experience. But I said like, hey, I'm already going to Madison. Would you guys need someone? And at the time, they said like, oh, we don't know yet. We will get back to you. And then I thought about it, and I was like, no, this is the time to make moves. And so I said to, and it's funny because Lena Richter was the one running the Kriger Training Instagram. She was the community manager for the Instagram.
Okay.
And so I said to Lena, hey, how about I come in July to fly to CrossFit Oslo and give you and meet you guys and give you guys some free content. And I remember she said like, okay, let me talk about it with the team and Kristin. And they said like, okay, let's do it. So I booked tickets a month before the CrossFit Games in July to go to Oslo in Norway. And I went to CrossFit Oslo and I met the team, and I met a lot of people there and made some of my closest friends, Matilda Garnes. She's one of my best friends. She was the first friend I really made there. And I thought Norwegians would be really closed, like really shy, and they are in everyday life. But in the context of a CrossFit gym, everybody was so friendly to me. And I remember I also met there Lauren Smith, because she was going around Europe to interview some teams, because she was the team's interviewer at the CrossFit Games that year. And so I met her and just filmed some the training camp of CrossFit Oslo, Navy Blue, training for the games. And when I left, they loved my content. They were really happy, and we really all got along. And they said, let's do it. And they actually offered to pay me some money. And so what they paid me actually paid for my plane ticket. But I did not get media access at my first games. They said no, because Kriger Training was maybe not
big enough,
as famous as Mayhem or HWPO. And so I bought a VIP ticket. So I was
very close,
front row. So I even had a better view than the media, because there's only one lane on the side, and I was on the finish line. So I have some crazy videos in Madison. Even sometimes with my phone, I would film from the arrival floor, like the Coliseum, like and it was a tough job, because they had these freaking Norwegians are really good with their teams, and they every year at that time they had at least like 8 teams in quarterfinals, maybe like 5 or 6 at semifinals, and at that time they had 5 teams at the games.
5.
So I remember, and I landed, and I arrived in Madison, and I saw the big poster, like, welcome to Madison, the host of the CrossFit Games. And you had a big picture of Tia Claire Toomey, and I was like, oh my God. You asked me if I was starstruck.
Yeah, that was the moment.
I was actually starstruck the most by the event more than the athletes. Like, holy shit, I'm at the CrossFit Games in Madison. And so I shot the 5 Kriger Training teams.
All 5 of them, okay.
Yeah, there was a Swedish team and 4 Norwegian teams. Because Kriger is also known in Sweden. And after the games, Kristin Holte, they needed a lot of content for Kriger Training. It was a year where they decided to invest in content, both for their coaching platforms, so basically recording a movement library, all the variations of a muscle ups, the variations, like all of that for their coaching platform.
You made them?
I made them.
Yeah. Oh, I just.
So if you probably they have a few new ones now, but if you're a Kriger Training member, and you go on the True Coach app, and you have the videos explaining the movements.
Yeah.
90% is me who filmed that.
Yeah. Oh, I watched them 2 days ago.
And also vlogs for their YouTube channel. And we did a day in the life of Mathilde Garnes, a day in the life of Lena Richter. And they flew me to Norway, and I lived in Norway on and off for 3 months.
Oh, man.
And I was training and living in CrossFit Oslo. And actually, at the time, I was only doing video. And that's when I started to learn photography and also to become a photographer. And that was one of the biggest opportunities I've ever had in the space. And I will forever be grateful to Kristen Holte and Joachim Rüg and the whole Kriger Training team and Lena Richter for trusting me and hiring me to go there.
Okay. Nice story.
Yeah.
Then you're a known name in the space, and then there will be working together with Brian Friend.
Yeah, that first started quite shortly. Actually, after that, when I went to my first time to Madrid Championship, and Brian was there, and I said, hey, if you want, I can make a few reels for you for free if you need. And so at the time, he would do a lot of day recaps.
Yeah.
He would go outside the venue and have a camera on his face saying like, okay, this is what happened today on the leaderboard. The men moved there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I shot a couple of that, and that's where I first met Brian. And from BeFriendly, actually, I met PC, Patrick Clark, and the other man on BeFriendly at Lowlands Throwdown. And next to Kriger Training and Kristen Holt, Patrick Clark and Brian were also the ones that gave me so many opportunities and that helped me get my name out there in the space. And I'm also very grateful to them. And after Madrid, the collaboration went really well. And then we went to Dubai together, and I shot for BeFriendly and my first time in Dubai, and then went to my second Wadapalooza, and I also shot for BeFriendly. Yeah, because my first Wadapalooza, it was the year where I financed it myself. And I remember in 2023, I printed 100 business cards. Truth Films business cards, and they had a QR code in the back that would lead to my Instagram. And so in 2023, if you were there, you probably saw 1 million Truth Films business cards all over the venue.
All right, and then we end up, or we don't end up, but you come with the World Fitness Project. I saw your name as lead media creator, because I thought you were the big guy who were doing the live stream, the interviews, the everything.
No, that is our great media director, Hanu Pajari, who was the one actually who got me into the World Fitness Project. What he does is so much broader, and it's a bigger spectrum, and there's many more responsibility, but he's my direct colleague. But no, so I just handle the photo and the photography and videography side of things on our platforms, which is still a pretty big job. There's a lot to do, but I don't run the whole media.
Oh, we thought so.
And that started because Hanu, he actually has been working in broadcasting and CrossFit industry for 10 years.
Okay.
He was he's been in the space for a very, very long time, Hanu, and he was actually, I first saw him, I think at Lowlands Throwdown with like a headset, and then I saw him at Madrid Championships also, running the broadcast team. So those are the people you see with like always a paper, and then like a big headset and like talking to the people in the. And so Hanu has been doing that for tons of years, and also leading media teams for competitions in Finland. So he's from Finland. Okay. And I first met him properly when I went to Oslo Throwdown in 2023, which was the year where I financed myself to a lot of competitions. And he was actually helping out Roger with emceeing. So Hanu was MC at that time. And there was some Dutchies who went to that first one, Sal Mantel.
Yeah.
And Joost, and a couple of Dutchies that went to Oslo Throwdown, and there was and Santino was also an MC, and that's where I met Hanu, and we became good friends, and started like chatting on Instagram, and I saw him again at Madrid Championships, and then he followed me on Instagram and started like following my work, and at the time I Yeah, he's just a great dude. When I was working in Norway as well for Christian Holte, he visited once too, and we had lunch together in Norway. And Hanu and I always kept a very nice relationship. And when WFP was created at the end of 2024, I think he got recommended to Jackson Terry and Isabella Terry, the owners of WFP, from Roger.
Yeah.
And so he was brought on as media director. And at first, he messaged me at New Year's, after New Year's, and said, "Hey, man, I've got a project I'd like to talk to you about. Can you jump on a phone call?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And I remember, actually, I was visiting my friend Quentin in Valencia because he still lives there. Oh, my friend. He never left because he loves the nice weather and
the slow life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was doing a FaceTime with Hanu, and he said, like, yeah, there's a big thing coming up. I don't know if you heard about it, called the World Fitness Project, and we're looking for someone for a specific position. And actually, at the time, it was not for the position that I am in now. That role ended up going to other people in the team.
Okay.
But then Jackson, I went to Wadapalooza, and I met Jackson Terry. And I offered my help to create content, WFP content, because that was the time where they were posting every day the signed athletes. He said, like, "Oh yeah, it would be awesome to meet you, and if you can get some content of our signed athletes, that would be awesome, so we can give it to them." It wasn't even for the WFP that he wanted me to create content of them. It was just to give the athletes, to make them happy, and so that they have some content. I said, "Okay, cool." So I was running around shooting for BeFriendly Fitness and other clients, but I was also creating content of like the first signed athletes that were released, and I gave them to Jackson. And then I came home from Wadapalooza, and he sent me a message, and he said, "Hey, I know we filled the position that we initially reached out to you for, but there's actually a role that I think you would be a great fit for." And that's when they pitched me the role of lead media creation. Yeah, in this business, it's all about connections and relationships, and
we know.
And so since January, I've been lead media creation and not media director for the WFP, and it's been amazing so far.
Yeah. What's the great thing of working at such a big project?
The first thing that's great, I think, is for them to trust me with this big role, because I think it's the biggest responsibility I've had in my life, in my work. Because before, I always worked for myself and specific clients as a freelancer. And so the first big thing is like learning a lot on the job, and been given this responsibility of leading the content side of things. That's the first thing that I love. And what I love about the people that run WFP is that they're really open-minded. Yeah. They're really open-minded. And first of all, they're really kind. When I say kind, it's like, when you see someone and you say like, yeah, they're good people. Okay. You think of, for example, Jeremy Reinder. He's just so kind, and so nice. And just a good person. And when I think of Jackson and Bella and also Will Morad and the people in the team, they're just good people. I remember after 1 month, Jackson said like, "Hey, is the workload we gave you okay?" And I was scared because I'm a bit of an anxious guy. So I was like, "Oh, well, I hope I'm delivering fast enough," because he said like, he said like, "Are you okay?" And I said like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Like it's fine." And I remember he said like, "No, don't worry, you're doing great. I'm just asking you because I don't want you to burn out, and I want to make sure that you're happy and that you don't feel we give you too much."
Oh, that's very nice.
Because they care about your mental health and like, and so. Because, of course, a lot of us in the team, like every business that just starts, you have to wear many hats. Yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of things that Hanu does or that I do or that Jackson does that is not necessarily what they were hired to do first, but you have to work as a team in a startup. Because what people seem to forget is that even though there is big athletes and big budgets involved, WFP is a startup.
Yeah.
The only downside of having such a big budget and big athletes is that it puts a lot of expectations in people's minds, and so they accept WFP to do as well as the games or Rogue in year
one. Yeah,
it just started.
Yeah.
You know, if you think of like the first ever CrossFit Games, I'm sure it wasn't like it is now.
No.
14, 15 years later. So I guess it's like the double-edged sword of having such big athletes and big budget is people put you on a not a pedestal, that's the wrong expression, but they have big expectations, right? But so because you have to wear many hats, Jackson like was asking me, are you okay? And then we ended up hiring a junior editor who helps me. So a lot of the reels that you see out there are not edited by me, but they're edited by Valentin, our junior editor, who we ended up bringing on the event in Phoenix because he's really good and we love working with him. So that's the other thing I would say about WFP and how great it is to work with them and also with Hanu is that everybody listens to each other when we have team meetings. Everybody has their time to speak on the graphics side, on the media services side. Like we listen, and also we listen. Jackson and Bella and the people, and we listen to feedback. Yeah. You know, we don't necessarily apply everything, and some things take a long time to change and to grow. But we listen, which is something I think the space desperately needed. Is an executive team that doesn't turn a blind eye on everything and doesn't like, no, we're going to do our way. So that's a great thing.
Okay. We started with my story about the movie of Rich Froning. I thought it was great, and the movies of the Buttery Bros. Or now you're working with WFP.
Yes.
What's the biggest goal about with the media of WFP? Do you want to have a movie at Netflix or at Apple TV or like we had once with CrossFit? Or
I think the goal is to, at some point maybe get to something like this. I think it's in the minds of the people at WFP and in the minds of us in the media, of course. We're just taking it one step at a time. For now, we are working with the Buttery Bros, Heber and Mars, to create the Unbreakable episodes that you see, which can look a little bit like some Road to the Games episode back in the day, or some of the documentaries they've made. So that's a first step. Then, of course, we're creating our own documentary episodes after each shore stop that I'm editing. The first one we published was heavily criticized by some parts of media, and that's okay. I'm learning. I've never been working on such a big project. No. So lots of you were asking about mistakes, and I'm still making a lot of those. But I'm learning and I'm listening as well to what people say, even though we don't apply everything. We listen to everything. So I think we'll just have to see how things evolve. But I think for any league or something like Hyrox or WFP that's starting, of course, like. It would be amazing to get something out on a big platform like Netflix and go back to something like they did back in the day with the Fittest on Earth documentaries. There's just a lot of things that are shifting, and the 2026 season that's going to be released soon. We're still working on it and everything, and so I think it would be awesome to have something on Netflix or another platform and make it big like this. For now, we're just doing it at our level on YouTube with the Unbreakable episodes and the Off the Clock episodes, and the documentaries we're putting out.
Nice. I think we're coming to an end. What's next, Marius?
So we have our WFP, the World Fitness Finals in Copenhagen. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome because I think it's really cool to bring all the American athletes and international athletes to Europe, other than the other way around. And I think people underestimate the amount of cheering and support that European athletes get. If you look at semifinals last year in French throwdown versus some of the ones that were in the US. French throwdown, there was like 4,000 or 5,000 people like screaming. Europeans, I think in general, if you look also at like soccer games, basketball games, well, basketball is a wrong example because it's more of an American sport, but in general, like sports are very cheered on in Europe. If you go to a soccer game, or even if you go to German throwdown, you will see the people from like CrossFit boxes with like big flags and like a megaphone, and like it's gonna be a lot of people for our scale, and it's gonna be really, really exciting. If you haven't booked your ticket yet, or if you don't have any plans for that week before Christmas, and you want to see the big dogs fight it out on the floor to get a pro card for next year, with a crazy crowd, which I think could come close to a semifinal. I would advise you to get some tickets and come check out our event in Copenhagen.
Yep, we'll be there.
So that's the closest thing, and some things in the pipeline for me maybe in the next years. We'll see how that happens. My next big goal as a person on my own outside of WFP, my big dream is to shoot F1.
Yeah. Oh.
So this is actually a Mercedes.
I thought so.
F1 team. I got hooked to F1 a couple of years back, and so I'm a big F1 guy, and so one of my biggest dreams and next goal right now, on top of because CrossFit, you know, I've done it a lot, and I'm still grateful to be in that space, and it brought me to where I am, and I still love the sport and being a media in that sport, but I don't want to just be a CrossFit videographer anymore. I want to be a sports videographer.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, okay.
And so I want to shoot extreme sports, maybe someday work for Red Bull, or for me, a dream would be to work for a driver or a team, you know, for Red Bull Racing or for Mercedes AMG Petronas, or, you know, I know some photographers that I follow that I really admire now. There's this guy called Grégoire Truchet, and his brother is the videographer of Charles Leclerc. And him, Grégoire Truchet, is the photographer of Pierre Gasly for the Alpine F1 team. And those are the guys that I look the most content to at the moment. Not people in CrossFit anymore. And so if I can, I don't know if I could do the lifestyle they have, like follow 24 GPs. You know, but if I can do a Zandvoort or a Spa or the ones in Europe, like and be on the paddock and shoot some stuff, that's what the big thing for me that I would like to do.
Okay, no.
So that's it.
We'll keep following. Yeah, that's it.
But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me on, and also from the really cool intro you made of me, and the compliments you gave me. It goes straight to my heart. Words is a big love language for me, so that really meant a lot. And I've never been on a podcast talking like this before and sharing my story. So I'm really grateful that you guys accepted to have me on.
No, we're grateful that you accepted it.
Het was heel gezellig.
Heel gezellig. That's good. That's good. Well, Marius, thank you very much.
I'll see you guys.
I hope to see you. Maybe I'll see you in Copenhagen.
Ja, dankjewel. Tot ziens, jongens.
Tot ziens.
Tot ziens.
Hey,
bye.
Bye.